Tell us your name, sir.
Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez, a Detroit bass player. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing.
Where you from? Where you live?
Well, now I'm in Westland.
Oh, I'm in Westland too. Whereabouts in Westland?
Actually, on Avondale.
Okay.
A little further down the road there. Just local. Nice and easy.
Dig. And you know, my first question I always like to ask is, when did you start playing the bass? And why?
Okay. I started playing the bass back late high school.
Hold on.
Late high school. I was a previous trumpet player, and I had probably 8 years of trumpet playing in school. So I had my formal training, and went to a dance, and talking to this dude just prior to the dance, and he's like, "I play bass." It's like, bass? What's a bass, man? He said, "Oh man, I just got 4 strings." I just rumble the place. Oh, cool. Man, I walked to that dance, I just locked into that dude. It's like, see you, trumpet. Never went back, man.
Wow, that's
Parents
amazing.
got ticked off, but oh man, fights, it was ugly. But picked up the bass and never looked back.
It's amazing how the bass calls some of us like that. You know, it's actually, it's like, you gonna play me, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all. How long ago was that? How long, in other words, how long you been playing?
I've been playing, 70s.
Since the 70s, about 40,
Yeah, I got
close to
years.
40
Yeah.
some years, or on its way to 40.
I was back when bass only had 3 strings.
Now, that was a while ago. Okay, so, well, what you doing, man, what have you been doing since you started playing the bass and fell in love with it? What was some of the first bands you played with?
I was playing, I was playing all the rock bands and stuff, you know. Actually, right in high school, I went, probably a few months after playing, I was out playing dances at high school already. So, you know, I was fortunate enough to get together with some good people, and they taught me, and they helped mold me, make me something, and then Stanley Clark came out, changed it all for me.
Wow.
All of a sudden, between him and Jeff Beck, and then I found Jocko, and the whole fusion thing was going on, and whole nother world.
Yeah, that did the same thing to me. I didn't know the bass could stick out front like that. What is that? What is that you got in your hand? That looks a little different.
This is called, this is by a guy, Warrior. I forget, do you remember his name?
I forget his name, but I went to the non-show and saw him. He's a great luthier, makes great basses.
He does a lot of custom work. I actually have like about 9 basses. This is just one.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Jay Leno. What name some of your other basses in your arsenal?
Oh, let's see. I got Sadowski.
Wow.
Got an F bass. Actually play a NS upright. Jesus.
Those some high-end basses so far. I'm waiting for you to say Ibanez and Kmart.
No. Nah, you got a few Fender clones, but yeah, I ain't got none of the, got to be comfortable, first off and foremost, man. If it don't feel right, it don't stick around.
Right, so, and that's a, is that a criteria for you? Not the name, but what it feels like?
Yeah, definitely. Feel is everything. If you can't be comfortable, because I play a lot, I try to practice every day, and I do gig pretty much every weekend. I do some touring, and that bass has got to be comfortable. It might be in my hands 4 hours.
So you get to play every weekend?
Yeah.
So you're a pro. One of those pros we was talking about.
Let's just say I get paid.
See, that's what that definition of a pro I heard. Well, let me ask you this: do you remember when you started playing the bass and got those gigs, what was like one of the first songs you learned on the bass guitar? Do you remember?
You know, one of my original influences was a band called Grand Funk.
Oh, yes.
And that they were very heavy bass driven band. They were only a 3-piece band. But I just randomly was going through a record bin. I saw a 99-cent album. It's like, well, I got 99 cents. I'm going to listen to this. Cover looked cool. Took it home, and I think I wore that thing out. Plus, I was grounded all the time for messing up somewhere. Had all kinds of time to learn.
The Grand Funk Railroad, right?
Yeah, Grand Funk Railroad.
Which album?
Their live album.
Oh, that is the, yes.
That was a killer album.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Very heavy bass line.
Awesome, man. What between then and now, name some of your other influences, whether it be bass guitarists or bands or whatever.
You know, it's so hard to say, man. There's so many great players out there.
A zillion.
And there's no individual. It's just an eclectic mix of all these people. Because it's
Well,
focus, you know?
I say the same thing. My greatest influence is everything that I've ever seen and hadn't seen from the day I was born into
There you go.
right now.
Sometimes I like
Everything.
to just say it's life.
Exactly.
It's life and living in it. You just put it all together in a package and all right, that too.
Yeah, that noise, yeah, I like that.
Okay, so what you up to nowadays?
Well, I'll tell you what's keeping me the most busy is a couple years back I made a determination that I was going to change genres of music, and I got involved with this modern country thing that was going on, and I've been doing that probably the last 5 years now, and I've done quite well with it. It's kept me very, very busy.
Is there a name for the modern country band? Or is
that's essentially just what they refer to it now. It's
name of the band? Who you playing?
Well, right now I'm playing. It's Alan Turner and the Steel Horse Band. Is the individual I'm playing with right now, and I've been with them almost 2 years. And they afford me with it. They get me around. We do some traveling. We do some major shows. Back up some major acts.
Oh, throw some names out there. I love name dropping myself personally.
As far as some of the people we played with?
Yeah.
Lone Stars.
Oh.
I've played with those guys. We've opened for them a few times. Blackberry Smoke, they're a pretty heavy lineup. Jason Aldean, he's big right now.
Cool.
There's just a few I can run off the top of my head.
Any plans for the future and stuff?
Actually, right now we're in negotiations with, I got to get it right, I think it's a division of Sony that the band's in negotiations with as far as recording deal. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We've been asked so far. We're supposed to go out to San Diego. Supposed to do a week out there, maybe Vegas. We were in Vegas a few months back. Supposed to go back out there, and looking like Florida, Carolinas. That's what's right now. And there's a lot of plans are still. Things seem to solidify more about April.
Yeah, I understand. Sometimes you don't want to discuss that stuff until,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Try not to get too excited.
Right. So we'll wait. And plus, as slow as I put this stuff together, it'll probably be after.
It'll be mid-August.
Yeah, it'll be after the record deals, everything. But anyway, what was the name of the band again?
The guy I'm playing with now, it's Alan Turner and the Steel Horse Band.
Now, if we wanted to just come and check you out, hear some more of your noodling or just to check some of the stuff out, is there anywhere we can go to listen to you?
I do have some things I've done on MySpace.
Okay.
I've been meaning to update to Facebook some of the things.
MySpace is still that place for,
It's easy.
It's old school. It's old school social network,
Right.
And where will we look under MySpace?
Randy W. Lopez.
MySpace / Randy W. Lopez.
Right.
Something like that. It's been a while since you signed on.
Yeah, it's been a while. I might not be there no more.
I know the feeling. No, MySpace keep their people, man.
Yeah.
You might have like a zillion advertisements on there the next time you look, because everybody wants you to join their page and
That's the
stuff.
truth.
But I will go check it out, and I will put a caption on here. Now, I didn't want to keep, because I know you got a gig coming up tonight. We will discuss it, where you're gonna be at, but by the time we show this, it'll be over. But tell us anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, even better yet, go to AlanTurnerMusic.com, and it's a pretty updated page, and it shows where we're at.
Okay. Well, where are you gonna be tonight?
Tonight I'm playing out in Warren. Luckily, we got a house gig for a few months, which is cool because it puts us in line for. We're developing our songs and sets for the summer festivals. So, and our summer festival series is looking real busy. So,
Cool.
we want it to be as professional as possible with the label interest that we have right now, because we're definitely scoping and watching every little thing we do. So,
Awesome.
it's a great opportunity.
Awesome. Well, again, I didn't want to keep you, so I want to ask the other bassists to chime in if they might have a question or two.
Cool.
Anybody got any questions for this fine bassist?
Do you have? Is there a banjo incorporated in your music?
Actually, right now we got a keyboard player that's playing banjo. We're sticking things within a budget,
Okay.
you know, and as budget expands, then the players expand with it, you know.
That's my next guitar I'm gonna get, is banjo.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
There-
Love
there's
the
work
banjo.
for it up here too. You know, there's everyone. Well, I got to go to Nashville to get all these players, and it's like, unfortunately, oftentimes you do. But like violin players and mandolin, banjo
that
players
stuff.
around here, they're in high demand. You'd be surprised. This country market is a lot larger than most people know. It's just kind of one of those.
Oh, it's big.
Yeah,
It's gonna stay big. I love that.
it's looking that way.
Well, Detroit's always been a big country place. Always
It's-
been.
Country.
It's, yeah. Well, I just stumbled into it, and it kind of absorbed me. And it's like, if somebody's giving you a gift, you don't question it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's thank you is the response.
And yeah, I'm thankful daily on that one.
One of the questions I had was, you mentioned modern day country. There was a guy we had here, one of the first roundtables I came to, his name was Richard Narrington.
Okay.
And he was also doing, I guess what you might call modern country. The name of the group he was in was called the Modern Day Ramblers, I think it was.
I'm familiar with the name.
Okay, so I guess my question is the modern country more, how can I say this? It's country, but does it have more of an R&B influence to it?
You know,
I'm asking just for
one of the
clarification.
things I'm finding in this, especially from a bass player's point of view, it's all about note selection, and it's finding those single pivotal notes in the songs. And that, to me, that's the toughest part, you know, because you think, well, it's G major 7. Okay, well, that 7th isn't necessarily the sweet note in that area. You know, it's finding cross with everything else that's going on.
Now, are you talking about as a bassist or as
As a bassist.
Oh, okay.
And generally, that's a bass player's role in that is constantly trying to shift things, but doing it subtly, you know. And that's that gets a little tricky.
So the bass playing has gotten from traditional country, which is more a simplistic point of view.
1 and 5, 1 and 4.
1 and 5. So it's gotten a little more, I'll say, harmonically and rhythmic complex.
Yeah, it's I'm finding a bit of pentatonics are being used up in there.
Okay.
And this is recent for me. I'm just starting to hit the books again, and I'm starting to realize
Interesting.
where these things, how they're shaping themselves. But it's funny too, though, because you're finding a lot of reflections of 70s and 80s music in there, 70s and 80s rock, to be more specific.
Okay.
But there is, like you said, the R&B. There's some R&B in there. I've got somewhat of an R&B background, and so some of the things I'm doing, you know, hey, you're raised in this city, man. You can't deny it. You know?
Yeah,
There's
it's
no getting
there.
away
Yeah.
from that, you know. But you start putting those influences in, and actually, a lot of the successful Nashville players, session players, Detroit area.
Really?
You'd be surprised, yeah.
Yeah,
Here again, it's those unheard of people who are down there creating these monster pieces.
But they brought the Detroit influence with them.
They
That's
brought that
interesting.
influence.
you can't deny it, man. It's a part of us. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if you're really good at observation, you can tell a dialect of a person's area code. You know, a zip code. I mean, you know, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of modern country, first thing that came to my mind was Carrie Underwood. Not because she fine,
Right.
but
That's got nothing to do with it.
but between her modern country and one of my favorites, I used to listen to country music 8 hours a day back in the early '80s. Hank Williams and those
Okay.
cats. That modern country don't sound like country to me. It's like it's almost like pop, you know. So,
Right.
but you know, I guess you got to fall under some umbrella. But
Right.
is that what you guys play?
No, we're not considered the
Modern.
in the pop line. We're actually we're being charted right now in what they're calling alternative country,
Okay.
and so it's like everything else. There's different extensions of it. You know? So
Is that like
fun.
is that like Chesney?
Chesney,
Keith Urban.
Chesney, well, now see, I couldn't even consider those guys in the pop realm. Now Taylor Swift, she's
She's fine too.
yeah. But, yeah, she's definitely pop.
Oh yeah. She writes music about a boyfriend.
Yeah, but it's just it's what can I say?
Right. Well, anybody else got any questions for this fine bassist?
Is that your favorite Brace the Warrior?
Actually, my performing bass, I usually use the Sadowski
4-string, 5
string.
5-string.
Yeah.
Why 5-string for country?
You gotta have it in this modern country. These boys like riding that B string.
Really?
They like. Actually, I learned a song last week, and he was tuned down to B flat.
What?
Oh yeah, it's like no, it's like
Now see, that's a whole nother spin. To me, the country that I've heard over the decades, it's good. Got a good strong beat to it.
Right.
Nice strong bass line, but they kept it within. I'll call it the traditional range. You know,
Right.
the low E at best, or anywhere in between there. But now you're saying this new influence, they're doing that B string.
These
huh?
guys, yeah, no, these guys are
Wow.
that D is pretty prominent in there, and they're dropped down to the C. You know, that's pretty regular.
What we saying is an evolution of the bass guitar. They've been saying it, but
yeah.
we're fortunate enough to live in a time where that 4-string bass is turning into a 5-string bass, and the new kids want to do something a little bit different, and then it's going to keep evolving. I think it will.
Well, somebody brought up earlier, it's like the 6-string is becoming the commonplace.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. The
And this
7th
guy-
string, that's not unusual.
This guy got
Yeah. That's right. Look at that.
7. Count them, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ridiculous.
SR71 right
Let's say ridiculously beautiful.
I'm
Because
gonna
the story can be told in many different shapes and forms.
I'm gonna
Why
say
wouldn't
it's uncalled for.
It's uncomfortable.
I tried to play that thing earlier today, and it made me use correct fingering. I'm like, man, I'm used to having my thumb.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
They just let it wiggle around
Yeah.
and do what
So
it
that's
wants.
your personal hip shot.
Yeah, exactly.
But now you got to pay attention to where your position is.
Yeah, and that's only out of, I guess it would be out of ignorance. You know how people say about my ignorance. You know, when people don't understand things, they tend to not give it
Well,
all its credit.
You know, let's talk a minute about what music does. It tells a story, and the human experience is pain, and you want to tell a darker side to it. Where are you gonna go? It's inevitable.
Well, actually, I have one of my questions on my channel. I got a video on it. I asked people, you know, is it if you can you have 8 strings? 'Cause there's a 10-string bass out there.
Oh, I've seen a string.
Yeah, I mean, how many strings does it take till it's not a bass on it? That's a piano. 10 strings.
Or the Chapman stick.
Well, it depends on how you approach it.
Yeah,
I mean, you can sit there and have the guy hold the groove and do his thing, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now it's time to tell the story on the bass player's prospectus. Well, what are you going to do? He may have a bigger voice than someone else. Who is one to limit that?
exactly. And I'm not mad at the evolution of it, but the Chapman stick, it's like it reminds me of rap music.
Yeah.
If you were a musician in the late '70s, and then all of a sudden you started, if you were an R&B musician in the late '70s, all of a sudden it was all just rap. They didn't need instruments anymore, especially the bass guitar, and I kind of did not embrace it. And the Chapman stick is like, reminds me of that. It's like it's going to. Okay, once again, you don't need a 4-string. You don't even need a guitar player because you got the guitar and the bass on one instrument. You know.
There you go.
Again, my slowness to adapt to the inevitable. You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess the best way to look at it is that music has changed or has expanded, that the bass player's role has expanded. I mean, like you say, back in the day, it used to be 1 and 5, 1 and 5, 1 and 4. Well, you know, Stanley came along. Well,
Mixed everything up.
And everything else. And so now the bass player and the music started getting a little more complex. It's no longer just easy pop. Now they wanted these really nice dark chords. Well, we want to go below the E range, so we're going to start doing that. Well, then the bass player's role started expanding more, where not only is he playing lower notes, but he's also working in harmony with the keyboardist or the guitar player playing higher stuff. So now he needs a 6 or 7 or more. So the bass role is still there.
Right.
But now he's doing a lot more along with that. So
Well, again, you know, you have to think, though, the keyboard guy role has changed also, because he's not only just playing piano. He's doing the orchestration. He's doing the violin portions. He's doing the banjo portions. I mean, his whole job. I mean, you see a keyboard guy, he's got 5 or 6 keys with him, and of course the B3 Hammond to keep it popping. So you know, everybody's role has changed. Even the drummers have changed. I mean, you've got what, 8 toms? Sometimes you see on the drummer.
Some of that stuff. Now, I will question that, but there are people who can play it and they do use it.
well.
Is there anything that you like to say in closing before we conclude this interview, sir?
One thing I would like to do, I'd like to thank, I got an endorsement with Jens-Benz, and so I would like to thank Jeff Gensler for that. I don't know if you guys ever tried their amps.
That's all I use.
Then you know they're great people to work with. You ever have issues? I know we talked about that limbic earlier. It's same with the Jens-Benz, man. You got it. You get online, get on the phone. It's like he'll have a cabinet out or an amp head out to you the next day.
Okay, so what are you using? 212s to 15?
Generally, I'm using 12s. I got a couple variations of 12s.
And head?
Front ported.
Head?
Amplifier
for those.
Let's see. I got a Shuttle Max 1200.
12.2?
12.0. I got a what's the shuttle? I'm not sure if that's a shuttle 9.2 and a 6.0.
Okay. You got a few up.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, look.
Takes care of me. Nice.
I really appreciate you coming out to do this interview with us here in the basement as a Detroit bass player, man. And if you can just play us something out, you know, it's a tradition here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Randy Lopez. Woo.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Thank you.